And that's a wrap. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always, I'm Andrew, and today I've got my June 2021 monthly wrap-up here for you. But before we get to that wrap-up, make sure you are liking and subscribing and hitting that bell notification so you can get regular updates for when I put out new content. Post every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That said, guys, this is the wrap-up for June, but it is also the wrap-up for the Shelf Space Discord's Olympics read-a-thon, where I was on Team Zeus. Pow! Yes, that's right. We on Team Zeus killed it, despite all the animosity that we received when we told everybody that we were going to win. And then what did we do? That said, guys, I actually had a lot of fun. I got to read a lot of books, and I got to meet a lot of cool people on Team Zeus. So this read-a-thon, win, lose, was just completely worth it for me. And so let's just kind of jump right onto the books. I'm going to start with my one DNF for the month. Now, for my EOS prompt, I initially had Blackwing, Book 1 of the Raven's Mark, for my EOS prompt. And that was an instant DNF. I think I got 30 pages in and I was done. And that's not because the book was bad. It is because if you've watched my series that I've DNF'd, which I'll link up in the cards, I am not a fan of The Black Company by Glenn Cook. And literally, as soon as I started reading this series, I got flashbacks of The Black Company. It is spot on, not quite, it's like an updated version of The Black Company, like, I'm talking like the first book. And I couldn't do it. It was, I couldn't even give the book a chance. And so I just unhauled all 3 books, removed it from the TBR. So if you like Black Company, definitely check out Raven's Mark, because I think it is something that you're really going to enjoy. But that was just a no for me. Another one I had for my Apollo prompt, I also had America and the Cult of the Cactus Boots, a diagnostic. This is not a DNF, but I am currently mood reading this one, just because I had a couple things come up this month that just kind of took me out of, basically shot me into a mood reading kind of mindset. Usually I can stick to a TBR pretty well, but this month I had to mood read a whole bunch because just of general life things. So I'm just kind of reading this when the mood strikes me. It's a fantastic book. It's incredibly complex. It is written in a maximalist style, and it's very, very experimental. It is a self-aware, kind of irreverent, this is so hard to explain. But if you're into like something incredibly experimental, like they're writing a book while waiting for a book, and and they're aware that they're in a book. It is just mind-blowing, and it's really, really, really interesting. So that is America and the Cult of the Cactus Boots by Philip Friedenberg. And yeah, I absolutely love that. So let's get into the books that I did finish. I did finish a total of 10 books this month. And the first one is going to be one that I've already unhauled, mainly because I didn't enjoy it, but I pushed through and finished it to get my Zeus prompt, which was double the points. And that's going to be The Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee, Book 1 in the 5 Warrior Angels. And this book, I didn't find any of the characters interesting. I didn't particularly enjoy the story. So I didn't really I was very, very, very disappointed with this book. Mainly because a lot of people that I really, really respect and look to for recommendations really loved it. And so I was super bummed when it just didn't do it for me. And so I kind of unhauled that and Blackest Heart. Only, because I was asking people, I was like, okay, listen, you all say Blackest Heart gets a lot better. And they were like, yeah, but, it doesn't get, like, that much better. Like, it gets, like, 2 times better. But I needed to get like 3 to 4 times better, in my opinion. Like, there was nobody on those pages that I could either A, root for, or B, like. It just didn't work for me. So, unfortunately, I don't have those to hold up because I no longer own those books. Let's see. For my Hestia prompt, I read Dragonlance Chronicles. I believe it was Dragons of Autumn Twilight? Yes, Dragons of Autumn Twilight, the first book in the Dragonlance Chronicles. This was a read-along. Not only there was a lot of people reading it in my Discord and kind of having some good discussion there on the Whistler Duo Discord. Link in the description down below. And but there was also a read-along going on with a lot of just fantastic booktubers and content creators. You've heard me talk about them many, many times. But just tons and tons of discussion. Literally weeks of discussion just leading up to this read-along. And it was just fantastic. This was a 4 out of 5 for me. I've read this like 5, 6, 7 times. I haven't been keeping track. This is my 3rd copy of this book. That's how many times I've read it and for how long I've read it. It did come down a little bit for me. Usually it used to be a 5 out of 5 read. Since then I've started playing D&D and I recognize this as a novelized D&D campaign. And so it kind of just brought it down just a hair for me. But overall I still give it a 4 out of 5. 1 star to like a half a star could probably be attributed to nostalgia. But I still give this a high recommend for people who want classic fantasy. Because it is classic. It's from 1984. And I still am going to keep reading this over and over again. Probably for the next 3 or 4 decades. I love it. The next one was the Hades prompt. And for that one I did Sin Eater by Mike Shell. The 2nd book in the Iconoclast trilogy. And if you haven't picked up Mike Shell, do yourself a favor and pick up Mike Shell. What are you doing? This book was just fantastic. Aching God was great. Like, that was a solid 5 out of 5, 5-star strumpet. I will 5-star strumpet that till the day I die. The way it mixed fantasy and horror is just mwah, chef's kiss. And then Sin Eater is just, it's not quite as good. And the only thing that it's got wrong is that it's just not Aching God. But even then, it's still a 5 out of 5 read for me. But what it was able to do, like, it got me right where I live. And I'm still kind of reeling from finishing Sin Eater, mainly because I was like, man, this just, it's really, 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 really good, but it's just not Aching God. And then that end of Sin Eater, which is like setting up the 3rd book, which I believe is False Idols, I think is what it's called. I cannot wait to get to False Idols, which I believe I'm reading in, I think, August. So, yes, keep an eye out for that because I will definitely be talking about it. Coming up next for the Dionysus prompt was Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. This was the June read-along for the Whistler Duo Discord. Link in the description down below. But I just loved this book. I loved the movie as well. I grew up, thinking about dinosaurs. I was that kid. And, I mean, it's so good because even though the movie's got better characters, this has got a better story. And so it kind of balances out. And there's enough there is enough differences between the book and the movie to really make this seem fresh for a first-time reader. I thoroughly enjoyed reading Jurassic Park. If you haven't read it yet, by all means, do. Then for my Artemis prompt, I read Lullaby by Daniel Barnett. And oh my gosh. Guys, Daniel Barnett's probably one of my new favorite authors, along with Mike Shell. I cannot get enough of the Nightmareland Chronicles, which is odd because I don't reach for horror. And yet here, I've got basically 2 books this month that just were, a balm to my soul. What happens in Lullaby, for as short as it is, you really get to see the female character in this series just shine. And I am just so excited to read the 3rd book. I don't know when I'm getting to this. I'm probably just going to force it in at some point or just sacrifice some reading somewhere. Because between Mike Shell and Daniel Barnett, these are 2 series that I am just clamoring to finish as fast as possible. Just so that I can sit there and enjoy it. Alright, coming along for Athena, I had Iron Gold, which is the 1st book in the 2nd Red Rising trilogy. And I placed this one, in terms of the entire Red Rising saga, just above the 1st book, Red Rising. So it's not as good as Golden Sun, and it's not as good as Morningstar, but it is better than Red Rising. And saying that it's not as good as those is, there's no shame in that. This is just different enough that it's kind of jarring. And so you're presented with multiple POVs and just some people you don't really care to follow. And so this was still a 4 out of 5 read for me. I hope to get to Dark Age within the next 2 or 3 months. I missed the Feb Rising read-along over on the Library of Alexandria just due to an abundance of buddy reads, which I'm not going to stop signing up for buddy reads. Who do I think I am? But yes, Iron Gold was a fantastic... If you've been thinking of continuing the Iron Gold saga after Morningstar, I would say go ahead and do it. This is a solid continuation. And I heard Dark Age just gets even better. Alright, and then I read next... what did I read next? For my Poseidon prompt, and literally I get to use this for Poseidon because of a river. And that is going to be Feet of Clay, which is the 3rd book in the City Watch collection of Discworld. And, this is maybe not quite as good as Guards, but it's just shy. Like, everything that happens here in Feet of Clay just brings it all together. And the river is called the River Ankh within Ingmar Pork. They talk about it, they see it, yeah, it counts. And just, this deals with slavery and what it means to be alive and what is a soul and everything of that nature. But it does it with a lot of humor, a lot of heart, and a lot of dwarven battle bread. But yeah, Feet of Clay is just fantastic. It is a very, very worthy entry into the City Watch collection, and I cannot wait to move on to Jingo next month. This month? Next month. I don't know. I am reading this Jingo very, very soon. So it was just great. And then I read next for, I believe, for Aries. Was this Aries? Yes, this was Aries. Sorry, I had to look at my list because I had so many changes. But I finished my time in the Banished Lands with A Time of Courage. And I had thoughts, I have opinions. Ultimately, very, very good. I do not regret reading the Of Blood and Bone trilogy. I wish it had been the Of Blood and Bone duology, though. I think that there's enough content in the first 2 books to justify just one book this size. And I felt that would have probably improved the pacing of the first 2 books and the trilogy. I've got a hurt finger, so I can't air quotes. But the trilogy as a whole, just imagine I did air quotes right there. So, I was missing certain POVs that were in Faithful and the Fallen. Basically, in Faithful and the Fallen, we've got contrasting old and younger POVs. Here in Of Blood and Bone, we've really only got younger POVs to go off of. And so it just feels like it could have used more POVs. Like, there are plenty of characters who could easily have had POVs here, which then it could have possibly justified a trilogy. Instead, we've got just a bunch of youngsters here, and a lot of them I didn't click with as well as I did the characters in Faithful and the Fallen. Still a 4 out of 5 read. Thoroughly enjoyed this. Alright, and then I think we are starting to approach the end. So because I DNF'd Blackwing, I slotted in Voice of War by Zach Argyle, which I'll go ahead and link my review up in the cards as well. And I just loved Voice of War. This was the June read-along on the Shelf Space Inn, Shelf Pub Inn? I'll get that right one day. But yes, so it was there, the monthly read-along for that Discord for June. And so we got to talk with Zach and everything like that. I absolutely loved this. I thought it had great characters. I thought it had an interesting magic system. The world building could have probably used a little tweaking. But other than that, I am very excited to get to the next book. I gave Voice of War a solid 4.5 out of 5 stars. You should definitely be checking it out. It was funny because I had to talk to people because I react to this book very, very strongly. And it's just one of those series that basically, because I react so emotionally to the books, I had to wait to get resolutions to certain plot points. And it kept happening throughout the book, and so it really kind of pulled me through rather than giving me my instant gratification on how I thought the series should go. But everything that I had issues with ends up getting explained. And then I just finished this today. I am super happy that I finished this because Unsold is amazing. Another 4.5 out of 5 stars, which means I had a great reading month, guys. I think I had like three like 4.5 out of 5s, and then like 1 2-star, 1 4-star, and the rest were 5 stars. So yeah, it was a great reading month. But Unsold, this is like anime in book form. It's really interesting because literally the character is just determined and he keeps fighting people who are stronger than he is and somehow coming out on top. I really enjoyed this. I will be filming a dedicated review for this, which I hope you can look forward to soon. That said, that is all of the books that I read in the month of June 2021. I had a fantastic time with the read-a-thon, and now I must look forward to massive piles of books because I have signed up for way too many buddy reads between July and September. Actually, probably July to November. I've signed up for too many buddy reads. Totally worth it. That said, guys, I have got my July TBR already out, so I'll go ahead and link that up above just in case you missed it. But literally, guys, let me know what you thought of all of my books that I ended up reading this month. Do you agree with what I've said? Do you disagree? Tell me what you read in the month of June in the comments down below. Love to talk to you. So, till next time, guys. Peace out. Stay magical. Bye.